And this shows us this very important core of our values in Islam, and that is the dutifulness and goodness to our parents. Allah says in the Quran, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِندَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا فَلَا تَقُل لَّهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا وَقُل لَّهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Allah says, and your Lord has commanded that you worship none other than Him, and to be dutiful and good to your parents. Whether you are young or older, or they get older, or whatever, how long you live with them, so long as they are alive, always only choose to say words that are good to them. The best words, being respectful words. And do not even say to them, "Uff." Don't do that. That's bad. Or far out. This or that. Every time me, don't tell my brother, tell my sister. No, can't talk to your parents like that. Why always me? It's not fair. We all fall into these problems. Remember what I told you before. You can disagree with your parents if you have a right, but with respect. And at the end of the day, bir means to be dutiful to your parents. It's the opposite of arrogance. Bir is the opposite of arrogance and rebellion. So we shouldn't stomp our feet walking away from our parents, far out, slam the door, hit the table, say things about our parents. Oh, what about you? You did this, and I didn't tell you to give birth to me. All this talk. But Sheikh, what if? Okay, I know there's a lot of what ifs. When I talk about parents' rights, I get a lot of youngsters who tell me, what if? And some of them get very angry. When I talk about children's rights, the children get happy, and the parents say, what if you're making our children rebellious against us? What am I supposed to do? We need to balance it. Parents have a right, and children have a right. Allah will question the parents how they treated their children. And the children, Allah will question them how they treated their parents. Allah will not mix them up. Allah will not question you if your parents did wrong by you. He will reward you for your patience, perseverance, and your hurt. And He will question your parents and even punish them if they wronged you. But if you wronged your parents, Allah will not punish them, will punish you. And our parents, even if they are bad character and they don't give us our rights, we still owe them the childhood right when they gave birth to us. And that is why Rasulullah ﷺ, he answered the companion saying, who has more right of my companionship in life? He said, your mother. He said, who then? He said, then your mother. He said, who then? He said, then your mother. He said, who then? He said, then your father. Why did the Rasulullah ﷺ say mother 3 times? Don't confuse it. He's not saying you should love your mother more than your father. Nor is he saying love your father more than your mother. It has nothing to do with love. It has nothing to do with your feelings. You can't control your feelings. The meaning of that hadith is, the scholars told us, that because the mother carried you in her womb for 9 months, you owe her for that. But your father didn't. Number 2, when your mother gave birth to you in labor, you owe her for that pain and struggle. Your father didn't go through that. And number 3, when she breastfed you and weaned you while she was in postnatal situation and breastfeeding you until 1 year or 2 years or whatever it is, and so the dutifulness is owed for her for that. Your father did not breastfeed you, of course. So these are 3 rights your mother has more than your father. As for the 4th right, Rasulullah ﷺ said, then your father, meaning your father and your mother from then on, from that 2 years of breastfeeding onwards, they are equal. They are equal. So another thing the scholars said was that the mother is generally considered to be less have less advantages in life than your father, such as, for example, physical strength, such as because she gives childbirth, she has less advantages, she has disadvantage than your father to look after herself in a rough world. So he said, you as a child compensate that for your mother 3 times more than your father. And that is the real meaning of it. Of course, there are exceptions. Sometimes a father may be a man of disability and your mother could be very strong. So who is in need of you more there? Your father. So it is relative, but at the same time, in general, normal cases, this is what it means. It does not mean that if you got married and then your wife has a right, and then your mother comes and tells you, no, you should be your mother, your mother, your mother, and then she tells you to do things that violate the right of your wife or your children, that you have to listen to her. No, that is wrong, because Allah will not tell you to be so dutiful to your parents to the point where He tips the balance, to the point where Allah tells you to be so good to your parents that it means at the expense of other people's rights. For example, if your mother or father told you, go and steal, because Allah said, listen to your parents, do you listen to them? Do you listen to them? What if they recited the verse of the Quran, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ, your Lord commands that you worship none other than Him, and to be dutiful to your parents. Should you listen to them to go and steal? No. What if your parents told you that you need to take the money from your wife and give it to them? Do you listen to them? No. What if they told you you have to obey your parents? No, not in that case. Not at the expense of someone else's rights. That's her wealth. What if your parents told you you must put your children, feed them 1, 2, 3, or dress them 1, 2, 3? So long as it's not a religious case, yani if it's not something haram that you're doing. Like for example, if you're being violent to your children, your parents said don't do it, then you've got 2 problems. You've got to listen to your parents about it, and you are violating Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command. But if your children, dress them a certain way, feed them a certain way, and your parents demand, you must listen to us, do you listen to them? You have an option to listen to them, but you don't have to. And it's not a violation of your parents' rights. The violation of your parents' rights is when it's something got to do between you and them. You and them, a service for them directly. So for example, if they're hungry, then you feed them. If they need some wealth, you give them from your own surplus wealth. If they need you to take them to the doctors, you take them to the doctors. Make an appointment, call someone for them, you call. They're afraid, they want someone to sleep over, you sleep over. They grow old in age, you've got siblings, you rotate. Each one comes and sleeps at his mum and dad's house, or mum's house, or dad's house. So these things but not at the expense of someone else. Everyone else, it's up to them. Your wife, for example, or your husband. Husband, for example, wants to serve your parents, that's up to him. Your wife wants to serve your parents, that's up to her. But we encourage the husband and wife to work together in helping each other's parents. Because that's what marriage is based on. It's based on mawadda. Mawadda means love and mercy. Mawadda and rahmah. You know, a lot of Muslims I see, when it comes to family, marriage especially, they focus too much on rights and duties. What did Allah say exactly? Is that your right? No, that's my right. That's your duty. That's my duty. No, marriage and relationship should not be based on rights and duties. Rights and duties are in the Quran and Sunnah for one purpose. Who knows what that purpose is? What are the purpose of Allah putting rights and duties between husband and wife and parents and children? What are the rights and duties there for? Halal, but no, not exact. Halal means permissible, so there are many things permissible. But Habibi, rights and duties are compulsory. They're there in order to resolve conflicts. So when you conflict and disagree, then we look at the rights. So, okay, what are the rights? But if there's no conflict, what should you be doing? Should we do more than the duties, more than the rights? Any person gives up some of their rights. You don't stick like as if there's a business transaction, there's a contract of sale, and this is my area, that's your area. That's like two people living, sharing a same room, or in a business, sharing a house or something. Your profit, my profit. Relationships and love is not based on rights and duties. It is based on love and mercy, meaning give up some of your rights, do more than your duties. Help your wife, wife helps her husband. You give more from your wealth, the wife gives from her wealth. You help her parents, she helps your parents. Life is about helping one another. That's how love grows. I've never seen love grows when people just think about rights and duties. You get actually hard-hearted with that. I have people fight all the time. They come to me and say, "Sheikh, can you tell us is my wife in the right or I'm in the right? Is my husband in the right? I just want to know." Habib, don't come to me just so that you can use me to get back at someone. Just to say, he's wrong. See, I told you. All my life you've been like this, and now I know Allah sent me this sheikh to tell you. Allah revealed it. What are you guys doing? Do you want reconciliation or is this a fight? If that's how you want to live your life always, no, that's not a marriage. That's a toxic marriage. And the children will learn from you. So, we went on a tangent with this one. But it is important that when we talk about dutifulness and goodness, my dear brothers and sisters, it's based on mawadda and rahmah. Mawadda means to do good for someone and not remind them of what they owe you. Nobody owes you anything. So you do it for the sake of Allah. Allah says, وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوهُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. Whatever goodness you put forth is for yourselves and you will find its reward with Allah. Sometimes I have, children, they'll say to me, my parents did not do this or that for me. I say to them, so? Allah will question them, but what about you? He goes, I keep doing good for them. I go, you're doing a good for them so that they can reward you? Or do you want your reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When they say, I want my reward from Allah, I says, then Allah is the big, don't you ever worry. Keep doing good for the sake of Allah. For the sake of